Yo. It is I, Jordan Macdonald, here, Creek in the Cave Studios, live for Austin Music Zone, the podcast for Austin music, about Austin music. And this episode is just as great as any other episode that we have. Had my very good friend, Mr. Connor Stevens, country music artist here in Austin, Texas. And, man, we had a great time this episode. We talked a lot, all the way from mental health, from Connor growing up in Austin, Texas, to Connor now having residencies and performing at legendary venues in the city of Austin. He's a true artist. He's a true Austin musician doing the true Austin musician fucking grind, the true fucking hustle of what it's like to create music and be a creative and a professional artist in the city of Austin, Texas. Great episode, great energy. Y'all enjoy Connor Stevens, Austin Music Zone. The
trade-off of it all.
That's like the balancing act, doing like comedy, music, being out at night. Because you get a lot of free drinks.
I get free drinks everywhere.
Yeah, so it's like,
and so it's
why not fucking go overboard with it?
Well,
fuck it,
that's
it's
what
free.
I'm saying. It's like if I walk to the bar with $40 in my pocket and walk out with 35, and don't remember how I got home.
You know,
I mean, that's not a great night, but it's a good night.
It's a good night. What makes it a great night is when you wake up, you're like, oh, I still got my keys, still got my wallet. Only spent $5, but somehow I don't remember anything last night.
Oh,
damn.
my car is out front. Okay, cool. It didn't get towed on fucking 6th Street. Yeah.
We're missing a mirror, but it's all good. It's still
my
there.
My guitar player gets his car towed like once a month, and I'm just like, it costs so much more money, man. It's like $200 to get it out of the impound, or $150 or whatever, So
just pay the fucking the parking fee.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really
don't.
I feel like after being a musician in Austin for 20 years, think with the same.
Because every time you get towed too, you're like, man, I should have paid that fucking $6.
Well, if you're a working musician or a working comedian, it's like, that could have just been my whole check from that night.
Oh, for
and
sure.
So it's like,
dog.
to what? Then spend even more on an Uber, get back and forth,
That's my whole check for the night and my food for the week gone.
People don't understand that this is literally all of the money, and it's like, people will be like, hey, and that's also why I don't go out, because it's like, well, could go out and just do all that shit, but then feel terrible the next day and then not do anything. And then the rest of the week, not really, and then I'll have that anxiety and then be like, oh man, maybe if I just drink, it'll get better. And then the next day I'm drinking again and I'm just like, why do I feel bad? And
you're like, I feel like shit. The only thing that balances out was the thing that made me feel like shit in the first place. Then I'm drinking again. I don't feel like shit for the first few. And then after the first few, I'm like, I feel like shit again. Fuck.
Yeah, because it's 5 p.m. and you're drunk. And you're like, oh, yeah, you said it's 5 o'clock somewhere at noon, and now it's 5 o'clock and you want to go home.
Yo, welcome into Austin Music Zone. I am Jordan Macdonald, your host of Austin Music Zone, here in the beautiful Creek and Cave Studios in downtown Austin, Texas. Very, very special guest coming into the house today, and a friend. Incredible musician, the one, the only, motherfucking Connor Stevens, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Jordan.
Looking fresh as and impeccable as ever.
Dude, I had to pull it out. I decided, I put my vest on backwards. I just realized that we're gonna
and still make it look player. Still make it look player. Still make it look player, dog. First of all, happy 2024, dog.
Happy 2024.
It's what is it? The year was supposed to end 2012. We made it 12 years past that shit. The world still hasn't ended.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I guess we still got to do something.
We still got to do a little something.
A little something. Yeah, man. You've been a killer musician. Great country artist.
Thank you.
Would you consider yourself country artist?
Yeah, I mean, I would say. I mean, it's always shifting, you know, and I like to put my fingers in a lot of different pots. I would say country. I mean, the way that I've been releasing things lately, so I had the Country Worms stuff where I was going to forfeit my name from it and be like, oh, we're just going to be a band. And then I'm like, well, I wrote 20 songs for this album. So, I wrote them all. So I'm like, well, I'll put my name back in it. And so that was a cool thing. And that was, more psychedelic, honky tonk, and very. It wasn't really until I started recording this album that I did back in August, and that I realized, holy shit, that was rock music. It's like Southern rock with country influences, but now I'm getting back more to what I love to do, which is more country roots of a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, right on. Well, I feel like with because I'm a country music fan.
Yeah.
Like my folks grew up, we listened to a lot of like the outlaws of country and stuff, and I feel like outlaw country is almost kind of getting a new revamp.
It really is.
Now it could be because it seemed like for a minute there in like the 2000s, early 2000s, 2010s, country took a very pop route. It seemed like in a lot of different ways that I'm like, ugh, this is gross. This is not fun. You know,
it wasn't, no.
I don't want to drink a beer to this and like, you know, like, like I don't know.
I do, because it's talking about drinking beer in a pickup truck.
Yeah,
and it's like, look, I mean, I guess that's some people's lives.
Yeah.
Right? You know, but that's like, you know, when I think of country music, I think of, I mean, the original, the roots of it, which is, you know, the 50s up until the, you know, the mid-late 90s before it kind of started to crumble away. Not crumble away, it just took a turn. You know, I think what happened is in the 90s, rock died, you know, and so then there was the emergence of grunge and alternative, and so a lot of these rockers, you know, or pop artists, you know, went to country music or went to whatever, and a lot of things, and so country just kind of just fizzled for a minute, you know, and it was popular in circles, but I wouldn't say that I would have heard any country music on the radio, and if I did, I was like, I'm gonna change this station.
Because
you know,
the radio country, it's, I don't know, it's bubblegum.
Yeah,
you know,
it really, it's a good
and
word
I feel
for
like
it.
country music has very similar energy, especially like with outlaw country, has very similar energy to rock and roll and what it's about.
Totally.
And like doing your own thing. And I feel like this new wave of country music that we've been getting has a lot of rock and roll roots. Yeah. And also vice versa with rock songs. Rock songs now have a lot of like country roots with this stuff in it. So it's cool seeing like the worlds like come together and it be like, oh, we're getting back to that fucking rebellious, that underground, that real rebel outlaw country music type stuff, like with Sturgill Simpson.
Well, it's talking about real life. It's talking about the real life experiences, and that's why it's like, that's why when I said, you know, you're talking about tractors and drinking beer in a pickup truck, that's real life for some people. But that's not real life for most people. You know, and you know, in the same way that I think it's just that more voices are being heard and people aren't so closed-minded to what a genre looks like. You know, and you're seeing a lot more genre blending. Like, you know, I feel like also Southern rock wasn't really a thing after the late 70s. I mean, it was kind of around, and there was rock bands from the South, but it was, you know, Southern rock in essence was just really heavy country music, you know? I've been listening to a lot of Eagles lately, and it's like, okay, those bass lines and drum grooves are totally rock and roll, and then the harmonies and what they're talking about a lot of the times is very country music, you know? And so you're seeing a lot of that come back into play, and you know, of course, Chris Stapleton, Sturgill Simpson had played massive roles in allowing that to, you know, come back into existence, which is really cool. Because also you think about Chris Stapleton, he wasn't a household name until he was 40 years old. You know, because that's
the cool thing about country music too. I feel like the older country artists get, the better. Like, I don't know, there's something about the energy towards just in that specific genre too. It seems like you just get a little more soul into you, and it, you know, and it like
you got
really,
a little more life in you.
But then you got
maybe
cats
less
like,
life, but more living had been had.
But then you got cats like Billy Strings, who's, you know, he's a young kid, like he's only like 28 right now, and and he's just a fucking, his shows are out of this fucking world. Like,
and the dude releases album after album. I mean, it just doesn't stop. And what's so cool about him is his, what you said, his shows, I mean, are just spectacular. I was talking to a friend in the music industry, and she was like, you know, Billy Strings on paper in terms of streaming and radio play, you wouldn't consider one of those top dogs like what Tyler Childers and you know, and that being said, it is bluegrass, you know, but you know, you go to those anyways, what I was gonna say though is, but he sells out 90% of his shows, and that 10% that's left is like 90% sold out, you know? So almost every show that he plays is sold out. So this dude is putting in real work, making real money. And also that's the thing that I think people don't understand is now with the evolution of streaming services, and you know, it's great, and it can be hard on an artist. You know, it's like, wow, everybody can hear my music.
Yeah.
And wow, I got 30,000 plays and made $400. You know, and it's holy shit, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's like the aspect of being an artist, doing it professionally, that people don't fucking realize. Because we, especially with, you know, the way we have to market ourselves online and stuff, we have to show to a degree that like our lives are not necessarily perfect, but it's like we do this every day, son. This is a nonstop thing, which is like, you know, in different ways you can work on your craft and like do it every day, but it's like people really only see the pretty parts of the shit, you know?
Well, because if you put out on social media that you're going through having a hard time or having a mental health day, all of a sudden people don't want to fuck with that, because that's scary, and that's a hard conversation to have.
They're like, whoa, you sharing real human emotions, dog, and I don't know how I feel exactly about that.
Yeah, because people aren't sure how to feel about their own emotions, you know, and that's the beauty of comedy and music, you know, or any type of art and creation, is that it's like, hey, I'm going to go through all of these battles on my own behind closed doors to produce something magnificent that you can relate to, that you can laugh to, cry to, feel happy about, and you don't know what it took to get that, you know? And everybody just sees this beautiful final product, or they just see the what you allow to be seen, because if you open all the doors, then everybody, for me at least, it's like, well, one, I don't want people looking into my soul like that, you know, because I don't think they're gonna like what they see. You know, not that I don't, you know, not that I'm like, oh, I don't have a good soul. More so that I think that if they see the process and, you know, the real person behind it all is like, I get really sad a lot of the times, and people will be like, oh my God, that's a beautiful song. I was crying when you played that song. It's like, I was crying when I wrote that song. I was crying for 2 weeks before I wrote that song. But I can't show that, you know. I mean, I could, but you know, then it's like, Well,
it's like it's a weird thing. It's like we almost have to, because I feel like anybody that does any type of performance, any type of art, and treats it like a business and does it like on a more professional level, all of us are on the fucking edge of being able to like be in society and being locked the fuck up. Because we're nutcases.
You mean in a hospital?
Yeah. It's like it's like we in a hospital or jail, because like we literally like ride a fine edge where it's like, because what we're doing is insanity. You know what I'm saying? Like with making music, it's insanity. Like telling jokes in front of strangers, it's fucking insanity. It's no normal, sane person is going to do this shit, right?
Yeah.
But those non-normals, not sane people are the ones doing it, and I feel like all of us are just riding a very fine line between like, all right, somebody's gonna lock me up for me like sharing like the crazy shit that's going on in my brain, or I'm making it work into a business or whatever, you know. And it's like riding that fucking very thin line, you know.
Yeah, and then I don't know about you, but I find myself, you know, I had this subconscious thing where it's like, okay, if I'm in maybe a writing or creativity rut, let's go fucking stir the pot, of my life, the pot of my life, you know, and just see what gets made from it. And it's like, oh shit, well, me stirring the pot doesn't necessarily bode well in the end a lot of the times, you know. And on the insanity thing of that is like, you know, what is that definition of insanity? Is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's basically what we're doing. You know, we're
pretty
sitting
much.
out there I'm gonna.
That's why we drive ourselves crazy, because we are like literally the definition of insanity is what we're doing every time.
Yeah,
that's so crazy. Yeah, man. But it's also like just from my perspective as a comedian, I'm like, should I deal with this person? Probably not. Am I gonna probably get some jokes out of it? Absolutely. Let's jump in. Fuck it, whatever. Because then I get to the point where I tell myself like, this is for my art. This is this is for my business. I have to wild
this
out.
Toxic relationship is going to help me in the long run.
Yeah, bro. I was in a whole abusive relationship. Some of the best jokes I wrote out of getting beat up, which is like, That's not healthy, yo. That's not healthy.
Yeah, dude. I had that. I did, I've done that. Thank God I finally have a healthy relationship. But with that, I don't know how to act.
Yeah,
because I'm like, everything is so good. I'm just waiting for that other foot to drop. And we have that conversation. I'm like, hey, babe. So I want you to know that there's nothing wrong, but I feel like there's impending doom. So don't be just give me some grace and patience while we work this thing out. And, the beauty of, this relationship that I've had is that because I get treated so well, I'm now learning how, we live together. This is the first time I've lived together with anybody. This is the first. And so with that, writing has always been such a sacred thing for me. Yeah. It's like, it went from, for me, my living situation was, so I grew up in Austin. I was born in Dallas, but, family moved here when I was just a young kid. And growing up here, it's like, okay, I lived with my parents until my bullshit was too much for them. And then they kicked me out. And then I was surfing on couches until now where I'm, renting a house, you know? Yeah. And so it was this huge dramatic change, but it's basically, I always had this, even when I was surfing on couches, I would always have this, find a space to just be like, okay, just me and my guitar. And, and also when no one's home and whenever it's just me. And now it's like, okay, I live in a house with my girlfriend and we, have a healthy relationship. So now I have to rediscover my relationship with writing.
Yeah.
Rather not have to, I get to rediscover my relationship with writing. And it's such a cool thing to be like, okay, hey, brain, it's okay. You're safe. You can write. And then now it's also like, okay, things are good. Don't make it bad just to get a song.
Yeah. That's like of artistry. It's like the dangerous part of artistry. You're like, oh, I'm so used to thriving and creating out of bad situations and stuff. Like, let me try to embrace good for a change and see how that works. Mm-hmm. Being growing up in Austin and being a musician in Austin, like how crazy has like the changes you've seen within the city been for you, and how has that like affected how you approach music and do music?
It's a great question. I've seen probably like two evolutionary periods, one negative and the second positive, and I'm grateful that it was in that order.
Yeah.
Because now that my career is starting to go places, I'm glad that things have taken a trend for the better. But when I started playing, so I started playing open mics when I was 15, Remember my dad drove me to an open mic up at a place called Kick Butt Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that was before it was all built up. It was really just a tiny coffee shop with super small stage, and it was next to, what is that, Highland Mall?
Yeah.
When I first did that first open mic, Highland Mall, you weren't allowed to go into Highland Mall because it was so sketchy up there, and every business had to close because after hours people would just go in and loot the entire place. And
God bless America.
And so my dad drove me up there, and I was like, this is my first time that I'm ever gonna sing in front of anybody, and it's definitely not gonna be my fucking dad, you know? And I'm like, Dad, you can go now. And he's like, you're 15. I just dropped you in a very bad part of town.
Yeah.
I'm staying. And I was like, well, you have to sit in the back, but anyways, all that, I started being, just playing just myself, solo. And, I played all these bars on 6th Street, and it was this thing of, oh, we want live music. It's the live music capital of the world. And also what I'd seen, it's like, okay, everybody and their moms is playing fucking Gary Clark Jr. or Stevie Ray Vaughan, because those are the two huge notable names, at that time that had really come out of Austin. And of course there's Spoon and, a lot of other, there's hundreds and hundreds of other great bands, but what it was is this very closed box of blues music, and this is what we want to hear. Rather, this is what we think everybody wants to hear, and what everybody thinks that they want to hear that comes to Austin, because they're like, oh, it's a home of live music. But then what started happening is, the emergence of electronic music, and DJs got really popular, and clubs and bars realized, oh, I can pay a DJ half the amount for triple the time. And so,
this is the shit nobody really like fucking knows about. This is the cool shit that
I lost my job so many fucking times to a DJ, and it was so frustrating. Where it's like, I'd go in and I'd play, and they'd be like, hey, we're gonna set up a residency here and this happy hour, and be like, okay, great. And then they lowball the shit out of you. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, well, and for a long time, and people still try to do this shit of exposure. It's like, exposure to what? I mean, sure, it's now getting to be a great scene
That's
again.
so true.
But it's like, but exposure doesn't pay my bills. Sure, maybe getting in front of that one perfect person on that one fucking perfect day could launch my career. But that's a 1 in multiple million chance there.
Yeah, you've got a better chance of getting struck by lightning.
Yeah, you got a better chance of a lot of things that are way worse, And so I ended up losing, my job so many times, and even one of the times I was like to my best friend, and he was DJing, and then he's like, he is setting up as I'm walking into this bar to go set up, and I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, you don't go till later. He's like, oh no, they hired me to do from this hour till midnight, and I'm like, it's like 5 hours of DJ. He's like, shit. And it's like, okay, well that's where my job went. And that was really, discouraging for a while. And then it was also just hard as shit to find a band. Yeah. Because I'm sitting here writing all these songs, and for a long time, what I saw in Austin was just 90% cover bands, and then they would sprinkle a few originals in there, which is cool, and you still see a lot of that, because at the end of the day, not everybody's a writer, and that's okay. Like, if everybody in my band was a writer, we wouldn't get anywhere. And so then I had just about 3 years ago, I'd still just been playing solo and just being like, man, how the hell is this going to work out? And then also being like, I don't think this is going to work out. And so I might as well just go get a fucking 9 to 5 and just say, fuck it to it all. And I'll just write for fun. And, I had this vision in my mind. I'll be like, well, I'll just be that old dad. And the kids are going to go, Dad, you're so good. How did you never make it? And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to be that motherfucker.
You can't go out like that, son.
Yeah. And then now what's really cool. And so that was that negative trend where it was just really hard for a long time. And everything was DJs, and still on 6, it's at least Dirty 6, but it's cool. I don't mind not being there because it's a shit show of a street, every
night it is,
and so it's like, that's still a lot of DJs, and some places are getting, what I love is, Friends, of course, always has live music, which is, I don't know if I've ever, and I hopefully will never see a DJ there. And then Sunset, that used to be the Parish.
You just performed there last night.
I just played there last night, and that was really cool. So seeing, with comedy coming into Austin, it allowed musicians that are doing original music to be seen and heard, because comedians can't go up and tell someone else's joke. If you do that, you're not a comedian.
No, right? you will get blackballed,
and you'll also you will get, everybody will know your name, and not for a good reason. And so with that surge of comedy and live performances happening, it was so great because the comedian community extended an olive branch to the musicians, and we're like, hey, we either want an opener or a closer as a musical act, right? Or do these things in conjecture with each other, and market them as both. And it's allowed bands like, Nether Hour, Ellis Bullard, myself, and a lot of other great artists to come in and actually get listeners to listen.
Yeah.
As opposed,
I feel like cats like y'all, man, y'all are just as much as part of the comedian community as the comedians are,
and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're sitting here having this conversation. Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't, when you gave me that message last night, I was so excited because it's like, it's not like I'm just going in for an interview. It's like I'm going in for an interview with my friend. It's not even fucking an interview. We're sitting down and chopping it up.
Yeah,
you know what
shit,
I mean?
Man.
And I love it. And it's so nice to because it's also really great to not just have musician friends, because it's
same with
when it's a business and fun and your whole life, it's just you get that burnout so fast. And so to be able to be like, oh sweet, I get to go be around people that don't do the same shit as me, but also are fucking crazy like me.
Yeah, and the thing with this podcast in particular, Austin Music Zone, the Creek in the Cave, they approached me. They're like, hey, would you be interested in hosting a music show? And I'm a big music nerd.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of talented musician friends, DJ friends, music people friends. and Austin is known as like, you know, music capital or whatever, but I feel like people only see it on the surface level. And so this is my opportunity to pick your brain, but also show, you know, people that want to know more about what's happening music-wise in Austin, but not just like surface level, because we know you're a great musician, you know, great performer.
Thank you.
So much fun. The ladies love it too. When ladies love something, the fellas love it too. You know?
That is true, and that is how you sell tickets.
I see all the pretty girls two-stepping when Connor Stevens is on stage. So I'm like, I'm gonna go out there and two-step too. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool, and it's cool to be able to do that, and I'm glad to be able. I'm so happy to be able to talk about the stuff that's not just surface level. And I've done, you know, other podcasts, and it's been fun. And I also just feel like, you know, there's a certain point where it gets like, oh, if you're not a music nerd, there's only so much that you can also get out of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I love just talking anyways. But you know, this is really cool because, yeah, it also it definitely allows people to see that this shit is one. Not that, well, I'm sure some people think it's but it ain't no fucking joke in the sense of this isn't like, you know, I gave up a really fucking nice job where I was living very comfortably, financially speaking, 2 years ago, and to go do music and know that I'm probably going to be barely scraping by for a little bit of time, and it's going to be really challenging on my spirit at times, you know, where it's like, holy shit, I ate McDonald's every single day this week just because, well, it's good. I like it. But if I had a choice, I would love like a really nice like charred chicken salad or fucking whatever. I can't afford a fucking $15 salad though. That's fucking 4 triple cheeseburgers, dude. But you know what I mean? I gave that up to struggle. And that was interesting because I actually gave that up to struggle not to create, you know, not for the sense of creating a song, right? You know, I don't think I've ever even written a song about quitting my job to do music. I just did it because I was like, if I don't do this now, I'm going to regret it and look back the rest of my life and go, what if I did? What if I just tried, you know? And so...
And that's like the scariest part of things, knowing that like, all right, if I don't do what I want to do, I'm going to die not doing what I wanted to do.
Or so it's like, I'm going to fucking off myself because I realize I've been a sad motherfucker the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, because...
Oh, damn, maybe just telling jokes in front of people just makes me really happy and feel like my life is worth something. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Versus like... Because I get what a lot of people that don't do art and stuff, like, it's fucking hard to... You know, because I comedy's paying over half of my bills right now, but I still work like day gigs and stuff. And it's like, after a long ass day working a day gig, I still got to come out and fucking tell jokes, even though I just worked a 10-hour shift throwing fucking ice around to people. You know, and I'm like, man, I'm fucking tired of people. I'm tired of driving this truck around, but you know, I got to get on stage and fucking tell these jokes. You know?
You know, and I think like an important shift is because I still work like my little odd jobs here and there, you know. Clarissa, my girlfriend, she's, you know, a model and an actress. So with that, you know, people have been like, hey, does your boyfriend want to model? I'm like, does the gig pay?
Does it pay? Shit.
Because if it pays,
I'll model the fuck out of something right now, goddamn.
I'll wear a diaper, dude. Yeah. You know?
Y'all trying to see my motherfucking toes?
Yeah, shit. Right? I know.
You don't get no toe shots for free.
Yeah, only toes, man. And, and so, you know, but then to get that mental switch of that is the have to. Yeah. The get to is I get to go up and play music. I get to go up and tell jokes. That other shit's the have to. Yeah. You know, and that is the hardest part is leaving everything at the door. Yeah. You know, because we're in that same boat of, you know, me being the front man of my band and you being the front man of your career. Yeah, you know, that if you go up there and you are visibly unhappy, the fucking crowd hates you. Yeah. You know? Well, they don't hate you, but they'll go somewhere else. And so you have to not only maintain you know, performances and putting out and, you know, showing people that you're relevant, for lack of a better term, because the way that everything works, people's minds just go to the next thing so easily. But it's also
the microwave generation.
I know, right? I know. They're so good though. You can make chicken.
Yeah, it's very innovative fucking machines right there.
I know, right? We're gonna fucking all have cancer when we're older.
100%. We probably already do.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been feeling that thing. I'm like, oh no, but is you have to go up there and be yourself, but also at the same time, if yourself isn't feeling good mentally that day, you can't be that person.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, it just won't usually end well.
Yeah. I've known you since 2021 now. I met you that summer, and cats like you, all the cats from Nether Hour, Bercy, Bob, and Bishop, I've seen all y'all grow like just so much, like as like musicians, and having more like consistent shows and residencies and stuff and stuff like that. And that's been, and while I'm watching y'all grow, like me and my own comedy career have been growing too, and it's
I've been seeing it too, man.
Yeah, and it's like, oh damn, like I know these cats, and I'm seeing them like put good music out on Spotify. That track you had with Bob.
Would you stay?
Yeah, just. Like if you put out music and I'm like, I will clap cheeks to this music. That's how I really judge whether or not like I fuck with the song heavy. Like, would I have sex while this music plays in the background?
Yeah.
And absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. But no, it's really cool, man, to see, because I've been at just like jam sessions with you where we're just sitting around the fucking campfire and you're just jamming and playing and stuff. And I've seen you play with Nether Hour. I've seen you play your own solo shows and stuff with your band. How has like the past 2 to 3 years been like? Because it seems like
incredible.
It's just been going. And I remember like there's a few like times like where it seems like you were going through a little more like heavier like just life shit, a little darker stuff. But I've also seen you get over those humps and get to like where you are now, because like now, like your energy right now just seems like you're glowing and stuff too, and it seems like you're in a good headspace and a good like creative space as well.
Therapy.
Yeah, therapy, dog.
Therapy, man.
Real talk, real fucking talk.
Wherever the camera's at, therapy, man. It's so fucking important, and it's so. It's just. I mean, I can't stress it enough. I mean, for anybody, but especially anybody that's a creative. I mean, anybody that's going through anything, but especially, if I could give all of my friends the option of therapy, I would, you know, because it's really hard work. I went through a lot in my early years before I really started taking music seriously. I went to rehabs and mental hospitals and jail. I did all of that shit, and it was not pretty. And through it, I was kind of going to therapy, but I was also like, man, I'm just looking for a way to make people happy so that I can just do what I want to do, And finally, this last 2 years has been incredible, and I started going to therapy about 2 months ago, and it's really just changed my life in the sense of you can have all of, life is going to be life regardless. So
life is going to be life. Life be lifing like a motherfucker.
It fucking really does. And so on the way up, you're always going to have things that are trying to bring you back down, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's people, sometimes it's situations, and sometimes it's yourself being like, I'm scared of what it'll look like if I get to the top and I don't know how to handle it. And so
that's a constant fucking thought.
And it's both. It's the duality of fear of success and fear of failure. And I think that, people talk about it a lot, but it's like, I wouldn't say it's over talked about because it's so real. It's what keeps people from going places, And so this last 2 years have been really incredible. This 2023 was one of the freaking hardest, most challenging years I've had in my life, and I've had some crazy shit, but, I had my best friend passed away, and that was just really, really hard, when it's somebody that's young, and it's also like, I don't know, can y'all throw up things on the screen?
Yeah.
If can we throw up the National Suicide Help Hotline?
Yeah.
If we could do that, that'd be really cool.
Hell yeah.
Since we're here and I have this platform, I'd like to just say that, you know, if you need help, reach for it, because, you know, you don't. There's a lot of people that care about you. You know?
Man.
And so that was really hard. It's something I'm still going through. You know, this guy was Taylor Jackson. He, when I was gonna give up on music, he, you know, helped me to keep going, and he mixed and mastered my first album. And, you know, this guy was, I mean, just an absolute light to the world and light to so many people's lives. And when he took his own, it was really hard, you know. And of course, but, you know, it's, you know, for anything, it took me out of the game for a while, and in the sense of my own mental game, you know, where you're like, oh shit, like he was really the only person I could talk about self-harm and about real deep mental issues, and being like, hey, we identify with this and we're okay, you know. And so then to just realize, oh my God, you can be, it can happen to anybody, you know. And so that was really challenging. You know, in 2023, a total, I think I lost like 15 friends just for various reasons. And it was just, that's something where you're just like, why would I get out of bed? Why? Because if the world is killing everybody around me, why the fuck would I leave the safety of my home? You know, and at a certain point, you just gotta either say I'm going to give up or I'm gonna continue to push. And so, you know, that's one of the things that I've been doing, and it's hard and it's good, and that's what therapy has been so incredible for, is to help me realize, you know, because in all of these things that happen, I just go, what's wrong with me? You know, help me realize there's nothing wrong with me. I am an extremely emotional person, and, you know, I also used to tell myself, oh, I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic. It can look that way, and sometimes, a lot of the times, it really felt like that. But really, what I am starting to understand is like, yeah, sure. I mean, if you give a mouse a cookie, then, you know, the snowball effect will happen. But also, why did this mouse feel like it needed that fucking cookie? Yeah. Because I have a really hard time of handling intense emotions. And so, and also, I got told my whole life growing up, you're too emotional, especially as a man having emotions. Yeah. Whoa, dude. That's not fucking acceptable, you know, until you fucking make something that's great out of it. You know what I mean? And that's just so shitty for society to do that to the rest of society, you know, to be like, hey, we don't appreciate really your soul and who you are if it's a lot, you know, until you make something that benefits me. Yeah. You know, which is just, I mean, kind of baffling, but at the same time, you look at the course of human history, and it's not that surprising. Yeah, you know, it's people have always been shitheads.
Pretty on par for you know? Just human stuff. It's pretty on par. Yeah,
yeah. It's let's take the picture perfect cookie cutter, put that on a pedestal, and anything that's not that is not good enough. You know. Yeah, man. And so, but with all of these negative things that, you know, it's like alchemy, you know, it's turning what may be perceived as shit into gold. And so it's like finding these little moments of choice, right? You know, to be able to say, okay, today I have a choice. Today I have a choice to let this take hold of me, or today I have a choice to take a hold of it, you know, and whatever that may be. And so, as you know, because every day that I had a choice to get up and fucking choose drinking as the first thing of the day, that was my choice. Whether I may have felt like it or not, I still had a choice, and you always do. And so retraining my brain to be like, nah, this anxiety is excitement, you know? Yeah. The depression is still depression. That shit's still sad, you know? But it's like retraining my brain to be like, okay, there's more than one ways out of this, you know? And I have friends, I have community, and I didn't have that in the past. I grew up my whole life here getting fucking picked on, bullied, getting kicked out of school, and going to another school where they were like, oh, you went to Westlake, which is, for those of y'all that aren't familiar with Austin, the rich white school of Austin, and I was not accepted there because I just wasn't that financially or socially. You know, I didn't wear the fucking Sperry's and the polos. No, I was dressing more or less like this and got called everything under the sun. until, you know, I ended up getting kicked out, and, you know, I don't even fucking know where I was going with that.
No, I appreciate you sharing, man. Like, it's like, just life is gonna do that life thing where you're like, man, fuck, man, fuck again, man, fuck. And it's like, we all, like, even quote unquote sober people, we all find some type of way to deal with whatever the fuck it is that we're dealing with or whatever. And, you know, like, sometimes, like, it may seem like, yeah, shit is, like, taking me a little bit off the deep end, but it's also like, I'm just trying to survive at this point and keep myself alive, and I don't really have the necessary skills or training that I need to do this in a healthy way. So I'm just going to cope in this way right here, which, granted, not healthy, but it's also, like, keeping me from not offing myself.
Right.
So,
no, totally. That's really good.
Yeah. So it's like, yo, let me find the fucking balance, but also, like, please, like, don't judge me.
Right.
Within this process that I'm going through right now, because I don't fucking know no better. This is, like, literally every single day, and this is one thing that that made me, like, forgive my parents for a lot of shit. Literally every single day, that's your first time ever living that day. You've never lived this far in your life ever. So it's like, literally, it's brand fucking new every single time. You don't know any fucking better. So it's like, all this, you know, whatever, especially when, like, trauma or some, like, bad shit, some real shit happens, you're like, I didn't know this shit was gonna happen. This is brand new for me to fucking happen, because this is a brand new day. Like, the only way I know how to deal with shit, I don't have health insurance, and I can go grab a fucking 12-pack for fucking $9 at HEB. Like, let me do my thing, you know what I'm saying? But then again, can't get to a point where it's like, all right, now this is more self-destructing than anything. And it's like,
it goes
finding
back to that fine line.
finding that fine line of fucking being locked up and, like, being able to be in society and stuff, and, like, the fine line of, like, keeping myself alive, and but also keeping myself, like, level-headed or something, you know? And, like, that shit, especially as, you know, like, musicians, like, comedians, man, we're sensitive fucking people, dog. And that's like, I feel like the breaking point for, like, people who are artists and not. It's like, there's something about, for whatever reason, us, like, wanting to create all this, to put music out, put jokes out, put songs out, put videos out, put sketches out, put whatever out. It's like, we're trying to get something out of us. Probably because we hold this stuff in, even if it's making other people feel good, if we're holding this shit in, it's going to be the death of us.
Oh, yeah, man.
Even the most happiest, like, type of thing, like, that makes other people feel happy, I had to get that out of my because it was just running around in my fucking head, driving me crazy. And it's like, I need to, like, get this out. And sometimes, like, other substances that help the push of something out,
like psychedelics,
you know? So whatever you want to do, like psychedelics, even like drinking sometimes, even, you know, like non-psychedelics, even like opiates and stuff. Sometimes you're just like, whoa, that was, you know, oh, what the fuck? I just took some kratom and applied for Ringling Brothers Circus. What's going on in my life, like,
bro?
You know,
kratom. Oh my god, dude! I did
it once, and I've only done it once.
Did you drink on it?
Nah, bro. Okay, I just drank. Yeah. I just smoked, but I was like,
it's an intense feeling.
It was weird. I got very focused in. I was so productive. I took it at like 12
Did you get the tummy aches from it?
No, I didn't get the tummy aches.
Lucky
didn't get any tummy. But it's literally just once. Literally just once. And I was just so focused in, and I was like, I could be in the Ringling Brothers Circus. So I sent them an audition.
Got a third arm.
Probably terrible. It's probably like a terrible tape, but I was like, I'm on the Crizzy right now, dog.
The Crizzy, dude.
On the Crizzy.
Yeah.
No, being a musician in Austin, do you feel like you're supported by the city?
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
And for the first time I do, and it's because of Austin does, you know, and it took me wanting to get help, you know, and I think that's a huge thing that a lot of us creatives face, is because a lot of the times we had to do everything on our own. When it comes time to ask for help, you don't know how. Yeah. Or you've been denied help so many times that why even ask? I know what's going to happen. I'm not going to get it. But I started allowing myself to be brave enough to ask for help, you know, and with that is just comes so many blessings. HAM, Health Alliance for Austin Musicians. My health insurance is 100% covered.
Hell yeah.
By half by the government. The other half is covered by Ham, because they understand that Austin musicians, they understand the situation in Austin, that it's not a lot of money for your perform. And sometimes it's good, and a lot of times it's you know. And that's why I'm not saying it's bad, because if any venues that hire me, I thank you. I love it. But Ham has been incredible. And then there's also SIMS, which is, I don't know what that acronym is for, but it's also like it's mental services, stuff like that. And what's really cool is, they do hearing clinics. They do ENT clinics, so like ear, nose, throat. They do everything under the sun, and they can also, I haven't done this yet, which I need to. I think I'm also just scared to ask for dental help, because I know my teeth suck. I know of all the years that I've done to my shit. I've got a temporary crown on my back that has been a quote unquote temporary crown for 5 years. That's just waiting to come off. But in Austin, the city really... There's times where I feel like the city doesn't care, or, in the sense of, go to a town hall thing and the mayor says X, Y, and Z is going to happen. And all of these grants are given to bars who spend it on upgrading their sound system and DJs. And it's like, and not all of these bars, but there was a handful of bars that did that shit and took this money that was supposed to go pay musicians a higher rate. They went and did shit for their fucking DJs. And there wasn't any, because at the end of the day, buying new sound, that's a music write-off, so who's to say who it was for, right? And now I don't, I'm not a bar owner, so I don't know the ins and outs of all of it, but I do know that I was getting paid the same at a couple certain bars. Where it's like, okay, I know that a bunch of bars got grants, because I heard that town hall meeting about that. And I also know that I still lost my job to a DJ. And now that was probably about 5-7 years ago or whatever. But now, I've been seeing it more where it's like the city has always cared, because I think also the city knows that if they give up on live music, then the rest of this, then all of the tourists will give up on the city. And
so part of the Austin appeal, man.
And if the tourists give up on the city, then the city goes to shit, and all that's left is a bunch of crypto dudes.
That's no fucking fun.
That's no fun.
Those guys are losers.
Saw a fucking Tesla Cybertruck for the first time.
Dog. I've been seeing them shits out here, and it makes no sense to me.
Dude, I saw a
and I'm not gonna lie, every person I've seen driving, they look just like fucking stupid. Because I'm a country kid. I grew up on a farm. I grew up on
that sounds
on
nice,
a Black
dude.
Angus cattle ranch. So it's like I'm used to when I see a truck. All right, it's a work truck. Like you put the gooseneck trailer in it. You throw the feed in there. You throw the bales of hay, whatever the fuck you need. In a Tesla truck, you're not doing any of that. You're
you're driving around showing about how much money it costs to get a 3-ton piece of junk. I actually saw a video of a fucking Ram 1500 pulling a Cybertruck out of a ditch because it couldn't get itself out.
It's as a true country kid, as a true Texan, fuck the Tesla truck. Fuck
I
that.
think
That's not a real
that
truck.
Shit is just so. I think it's whatever, I also think...
I'm not a fan of electric vehicles, because it's like, if anything were to pop off, your distance in an electric vehicle is 225 miles. What the fuck are you...
What are you doing carrying a fucking,
and then
4,000-pound slab of a battery to replace it?
And then as soon as, there's an evacuation for a city, say a city of Houston that gets hit by hurricanes, when they evacuate the city of Houston, the first electric car that shuts off on the highway is fucking it up for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And all it's going to take is one electric car, and it'll fuck it up for everybody trying to evacuate.
That won't go well in Houston.
Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no.
I mean, anywhere, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that shit, I see those fucking douchebags.
Well, I just like the analog. That's what it is.
I'm an analog man.
I like vinyl,
Even with vehicles that are still gas powered, all the digital components, all the digital dash, the digital speedometer, I'm like, this... I don't like it. It feels like
really
computers
want
are taking over.
Chevy,
yeah.
That's really what I want.
Man, my dad had growing up, my dad had a 92 Ford F-250.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, stick shift, bench seat, maroon interior.
Bench seat? Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh,
right, that's
all the dials, just fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah, the way you got, and it's still the analog radio.
Yes,
you turn that shit to find this, that shit is just, there's something comforting in that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that maybe it's me thinking that those were simpler times that maybe I'm
just paranoid because I feel like at any point, like, because this is just a computer, like,
right,
that's controlling this shit. So at any point, somebody can hack into this shit, or y'all could just decide to run whatever fucking software y'all want.
Right.
And now I'm just stuck in here and being like, damn, my car won't let me out the door, and it's driving me to somewhere I don't know.
Yeah,
and
it's
I just got to accept it.
Miles
I just have to accept this. Fuck that.
Yeah,
like, no.
And I just. Man, what do you think about...
Give me a truck where I can hang the rifle on the fucking back panel, you know?
Yeah, no, if you're in a fucking electric vehicle,
like
they'll be like,
American.
sir, can I see your concealed carry license and all of your fucking background check? You know, the car will do a background check for you. Have you had any experience with comedians and AI and them prompting, or, well, if they're too not scared to admit it?
Yeah. Nobody's like really admitted it to me. I'm on the fence with AI. I like certain components and aspects of AI, and I'm not really worried about it in regards to comedians. Well, I wasn't. I wasn't at first because when I was messing around with some of the Chat GPT shit.
Right.
The can't write a joke to save his life.
That's good.
But what I recently saw, which I didn't like, somebody pretty much took George Carlin and integrated him into an AI thing. And the AI made an hour-long comedy special doing George Carlin type jokes as George Carlin.
Yeah.
And I watched part of that and I was like, oh, fuck no.
Yeah, it's gotten to...
Because it was honestly like... The joke sounded like George Carlin would write them.
Right.
It was George Carlin's voice, the delivery, and the way it was written, like the style of joke that it was. It was like, oh, that's how George Carlin writes.
Yeah.
And it sounded like him. So at first I was like, I'm not worried about it. But then when I saw the George Carlin thing with the AI, the integrated George Carlin, literally an hour-long comedy special too, an hour-long jokes.
You know that thing probably took like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah,
to get that
and
out.
that shit felt weird. That's when I was like, all right, like don't start. I don't know that like, but I kind of feel like almost the same thing about DJs and musicians that play actual instruments and stuff. It's like that's it's easier, it's more affordable or whatever, and it's not as much things you have to do in order to do that, but nothing is as good as a live musician.
Well, how much emotion can you evoke from, even if the person's spinning vinyl, right?
Yeah.
Even if they're spinning vinyl and it's country music or whatever, at the end of the day, it's not that experience. It's a dude at a table, which there's nothing wrong with that if you need some really great music. For the
how
back.
much emotion is in pressing the button that doesn't move my heart, That's not gonna make me feel emotional. I'm not gonna look at a woman when I hear that and be like, you know what, I just fell in love with you.
This is a certified classic, and so are you.
Like no. But it's the same thing with AI comedians versus like actual comedians. Like if we don't. Because I feel like people go to music shows, people go to see bands, people go to see comedians because they want to see a human doing some dope shit. Yeah. And...
Well, a computer hasn't felt what we felt.
No.
And it could say that it has, and it's getting to the point now where computers, intelligence and whatever the fuck is like getting to that. And at the same time, it's like, but the extent, and it's always, I'm sure it's probably evolving as we speak, because that's what fucking computers do. But, at the end of the day, what I've seen as a constant through it all is the best that it can do is take a great person's content and try to spin something with it, and that's all that it can do. Any painting that AI does, it'll take fucking Vincent Van Gogh and it'll make something that's a Van Gogh-esque, but if Vincent Van Gogh didn't live, that computer couldn't have made that. If an artist didn't make this song, then this AI would not have been able to, one, replicate their voice, replicate their sound, or the style of music. Everything had to be created by humans first. And in the realm of creation, I think that there will be a certain appeal to, ooh, the computer's doing it, let's just go see what it's like. But I don't think there's an actual long game
there's not a long game for that
in the realm of creativity with that.
Because if there was a long game for that there'd be more hologram concerts after they did that Tupac thing.
There's none.
It was cool, like, oh snap, that's cool. But then it was like, oh, we don't give a fuck because we actually are humans. And it's like you can't take that human part away from humans. We're humans. We like seeing other humans. Like we just do. We can't fucking help it. One thing funny about the AI stuff though that I've had an outrageous amount of enjoyment watching and listening to is when they take Patrick Star from SpongeBob and have him do covers of other people's songs.
Oh, yeah.
Those are fucking great. His cover of Burn by Usher is one of the... I liked the Patrick Star cover more than the Usher version. It was so good.
I like all... Man,
it's so good.
I do like those.
Those shits are funny, but it's like also that's not taking like anybody's job away or anything like that.
That's creating funny content.
Yeah,
I think, also something that I like is seeing just how bad AI is with creating memes. I saw something last night right before,
These computers are not funny.
They're not, but they're so not funny that it is funny because it was like a bunch of jumbled letters that looked like fucking Russian, and it was like, blah, 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 like just to look like this. And it was just, an AI person. And it's like, okay, I see what they're going, but they can't do that. There's no originality there, and so.
One scary thing about AI, this is my favorite story of AI too, and there's this like lab in Japan that made an AI robot that could feel human emotions, and they had to destroy it because it ended up stalking its caretaker.
Stalking it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So the woman scientist that was like in charge of like taking care of the robot, I guess, like felt so much emotion, wouldn't leave her alone, so they had to literally destroy it. Like they had to melt it down. Like
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
man, it's scary.
It's scary, but
that's scary as fuck. But that's honestly so funny.
It's like imagine you're just going home from work after a long day at the lab, just like robot eyes looking through your window, watching you sleep.
You
like,
go in, you go open up the shower, it's just sitting right there. I've been waiting for you.
Hell no. Oh man, do you have any like residencies in the city? Yeah, now.
So every Wednesday we play at WTF Ice House, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And
what times Wednesdays?
That is from 8 to 10:30 every Wednesday. We play there, and then also I've been. So we just had our debut at Saxon Pub the other day, which was just a dream come true. Growing up in Austin, it's like, it's like Continental Club, Antone, Saxon Pub. These are the fucking historic places, And of course there's others, but I mean, you think about like those dive bar-y, but like real
those are
Austin
staples.
Staples.
Those are real Austin staples.
We had at our debut night, and we found out that we were playing that show the week of because they had somebody cancel. We ended up, selling 80 tickets that night. It was fucking cool. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm fucking toot my own horn because it felt awesome.
No, toot your fucking horn.
We got a standing ovation on our first night there, and that felt so fucking cool. And so now I'm moving a lot of shows over there. So I'm hosting a songwriters round with so me, my buddy Jordan Matthew Young, and then my buddy Angel White. And those two guys are fantastic writers. And then we just have a rotating fourth person come in. But on February 2nd, we'll be doing that at Saxon Pub again. And then what I did last night at Sunset, and this is really what I've been working on lately. Of course, my own stuff, but my own stuff is going to come because I've been doing it for so long and been putting in all this work. I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor. Now what I'm getting to is, how can I give back to the community?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Because I was given so much to be able to get to where I am now that it's sure you could say it's only right, but also it feels really fucking good to be able to do something.
To give back.
Yeah, give back. And so I've been hosting, we hosted the first one last night at Sunset, which was Connor Stevens and Friends. So me and my band play an hour show, and then band stays up and the community comes up and they jam. They play their own songs, we'll do that on February 9th again at Sunset. But in terms of weekly residencies, it's every Wednesday at WTF. Yes,
that's beautiful. And now where can we find music online too?
However you find music. Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon. Connor Stevens. It's Connor, since everybody has a real hard time of spelling it. ConnerStephen. And then I knew you'd spell it right. I just, it's just for everybody.
No, this is more so for everybody else.
No, exactly right. Everybody else is like, oh,
I be clapping cheeks to your songs already. Yeah, like, that ain't for me. That ain't for me.
Snaps, bro, snaps. And just however you find music. And I've got 23 songs that are coming out this year.
Hell yeah.
So first single off my new album will be dropping in late February. And then a few more singles off that, release that album. And then I've got 2 5-song EPs and a 3-song EP.
Yes, sir.
So
catch Connor Stevens live. It's a great show. If you like real country music, real Texas music, Connor Stevens is the fucking man of the hour to go to catch a show. And plug your social medias.
Instagram, Connor Stevens Music, spelled like how it is, my name with music. And then, man, I guess on TikTok, I don't really do much on TikTok. I tried.
But it's the thing. Like,
and I try, and I'll post videos, and I'm like, I don't fucking get it, but I do it anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I don't understand how it works. But anyways, that is at Connor_Stevens.
Beautiful.
I deleted Facebook because that's some bullshit. And, everybody got a bone to pick behind the keyboard, but is too scared to talk to a person. So don't find me on Facebook. So it's just Instagram, TikTok, and then however you find your music on streaming platforms.
Crazy. People aren't as brave when you can slap them across the face.
That's what I'm saying, dude. People love to just talk that shit. There's been so many times where I'm like, man, if I see this person outside, I will not fight them because I don't have room to catch a charge, but I will verbally make them hurt the way they made me hurt on mine.
Yeah. For me, I get a lot of fucking Instagram haters, and it'll be like fucking Thomas from North Carolina with fucking 32 followers. Like has this shit on private and wants to talk shit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'd fucking roast your ass if I could actually see your page.
That's exactly right, though. Yeah, that's already it, though. He roasts himself. He's too scared to put his life out there to the public.
Yeah, but I'd be ready to have all the fucking beef.
I know, right?
Just because I'm a very peaceful person. Come at me with beef.
Like, I'll keep my peaceful energy, and the second you encroach on it and get too close, put my hand out, and you cross that line, I'm like, all right, well, you're the one who crossed the line.
Yeah, exactly. You had it coming. Now I got to make you look stupid.
Now, this is what I have to do.
Yeah. I'm not going to fight you with my hands, but I will fight you with my words, and I talk a lot of shit.
Because my words hurt way worse than my hands.
Yeah. Exactly. I can make you cry with these words. Mm-hmm. Yo, this has been Austin Music Zone. Thank you so much, Connor Stevens, for coming through, dog. This has been a fucking absolute pleasure. We got a great fucking insight on just like, what it's like to really like do music out here in the city of Austin and really be, a true like musician, a true rock and roll artist, a true artist like out here doing the thing. Austin's known for music, but this is like, letting people into the world, the zone of Connor Stevens, and it's a beautiful thing, and I'm rooting for you. I'm very proud of you. Very happy to know you, to be your friend, and just getting to see you grow, man. This has been a fucking beautiful time.
I feel the exact same, and thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome. This is the best way to have it. The best way to start my Saturday.
Yes, hell yes. Austin Music Zone. Check out the YouTube channel, Creek in the Cave Studio, where we have this podcast plus other podcasts for your entertainment podcasting needs. Nigga, we not on Instagram with Austin Music Zone, but we definitely on YouTube. Thank y'all for supporting. Thank y'all for checking out. This is Jordan Macdonald, Jimmy Clifford on the ones and twos. Peace.